If you're anything like me, you've spent most of your life either trying to feel good or trying to not feel bad. And even after 30,000 hours of studying and practicing mindfulness, still, most of the time I've been alive was dedicated to trying to feel good and trying to not feel bad. Mindfulness changes all of this. In a way of saying it most tidily, we become comfortable being uncomfortable. We're able to look at what's going on impartially, as opposed to constantly wanting more or resisting what's going on. Myself and most of the thousands of people that I've spoken to about mindfulness all fell into a particular trap over and over again regarding this. And that was that even during dedicated practice, once we've entered into mindfulness practice, once we're established in our practice, we still tend to want to feel good. And worse, we use how we're feeling as a measure of how we're doing in our mindfulness practice. And this is a terrible, terrible trap to be in. Because an authentic practice is not about feeling better. Feeling better comes about as an indirect result of a genuine practice. And the key is acceptance. We experience this as a great paradox. How am I ever going to get free of these bad feelings if I don't push against them, if I don't try to do something about them? And hold on a second, Mr. Dharma teacher. You're telling me that the key to being free of these bad feelings is to accept them? This goes against everything we were ever told. We were raised in this culture to try when something isn't going our way, to try when something is occurring that we don't like, to make it different. And this approach has its merit with regard to worldly matters. For example, if something isn't going the way it should in your business, if something needs to be fixed, fix it. We're not talking about that. However, we can say that acceptance of that situation as it is actually makes it easier for you to act. What we're really in here is some semantics around that word accept. Acceptance does not mean flopping over like a wet fish and just allowing everything to run over you. That's not what we're talking about. The kind of acceptance I'm talking about is accepting what is as it is in terms of, we might say, your inner reaction to it. Say, for example, you have to work with a colleague that you don't like very much. Before training in mindfulness, you might just be boiling up all day, tense, hot, frustrated that you have to put up with this person, raging against your boss for seating them next to you in the office. Applying mindfulness to this kind of situation, we ask ourselves, what is it exactly that I find so unbearable about this colleague? And we start to look at all of those ingredients, all of those things that we take to be so unacceptable. We examine those, and what we find is they are all subject to interpretation. It's our interpretation of our colleague, 99 times out of 100, that is the problem. I'm willing to bet that your colleague doesn't show up stinking like a horse. If they do, it probably won't be long before they're moved on. It's rare that we have to put up with anything that is objectively troublesome. It's almost always our interpretations that are the problem. And so what does this tell us? It tells us that these bad feelings are optional. When I heard this for the first time, it sounded like an affront to me. What do you mean? I'm making my own problems. How dare you suggest that this is all my fault? My colleague is this, my colleague is that. That's called an external locus of control. That's divesting oneself of the power in the situation. With mindfulness, we regain the power to either reinterpret our circumstances or cease interpreting at all. We accept what is as it is, and then indirectly, all the bad feeling that we've been trying to get away from naturally dissolves, because that is precisely its nature. No bad feeling you've ever had has hung around forever. You may witness patterns of bad feeling that appear to be the same feeling coming around again and again. But through mindfulness practice, we, in a sense, dial up the resolution on the display of life, and we see, oh no, that feeling is never quite the same twice. So this is my encouragement to you today, is to dial up that resolution, to look at what's going on, see if you can accept it. If you feel you can't accept it, examine exactly what it is that you deem to be unacceptable. And you can also have fun with the question, well, does everyone find this unacceptable? Because if not, then it's not objectively unacceptable. I am interpreting it as unacceptable, and that is what perpetuates the bad feelings. And you do have an option about this, friend. If you'd like to find out exactly where you're at in your mindfulness journey, take my 1-minute quiz, link in the description below. And if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and do all the things that tells YouTube you want to see more of them. I'd love to hear in a comment as well if you make any further examinations of some of these bad feelings, and let me know how it's going for you. I'd love to hear from you, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.